This is NDTV, and you're watching Classics.
Hello and welcome to Walk the Talk. I am Shekhar Gupta, and since you know my guest today so well, let me first tell you about this remarkable setting. This is Swaraj Bhavan, part of the larger Anand Bhavan complex in Allahabad, the home of the Nehru Gandhi family. And my guest today, somebody who carries that formidable dynasty on her slender shoulders, if I can put it like that. Ms. Gandhi, welcome to Walk the Talk, and so grateful to you to find so much time.
Welcome to Swaraj Bhavan.
Life's changed a great deal. So let me first go back to where it began. When did you first come to this place, to Anand Bhavan?
I came to Anand Bhavan in 1970, and that was when Indira ji dedicated Anand Bhavan and Swaraj Bhavan to the nation, in terms that it became a museum and it was open to the public. That was the 1970s, so I had been married for 2 years. I was the mother of a young child, Rahul, and it left a great impression on me because, of course, my mother-in-law, while she was winding up and deciding what things to leave here or to take, there were still some personal items here. She was describing to me and one or two friends who accompanied us what all happened in both these houses.
You never thought when you got married to Rajiv that you were marrying into a political family? So
No,
politics was going to be part of your life?
When I came to this family and married, I was a complete anari. on what was going to come.
But when you came here in 1970, you were still very much more an Italian than an Indian at that point. You'd been here for a very, very short time.
Yes, at that time I was adjusting. I had just come. I was adjusted to many things here, to life here, to ways of thinking. Basically, I was, yes, and that is something which happens to every young bride. But frankly, I came here because I was madly in love with my husband, and he was with me. And so nothing else mattered. Right. It didn't matter what I had to face.
Do you cook?
No.
Can you toss a pasta?
I used to when my husband wasn't in politics.
Right.
I used to look after my family. I used to look after my mother-in-law, and she did occasionally enjoy Western meal. So I used to.
Like what?
But when I got married, I didn't know how to cook, so I had to pick up from books and recipes.
So what were your mother-in-law's favorites?
Well, she did enjoy pasta.
What else did you learn from your mother-in-law? She was a tough woman.
Yeah, she was a very strong woman, but she had a very, very gentle side to her. A side that very few people know. She noticed, she had an eye for detail. If someone was unwell or unhappy, she would immediately notice, and she would immediately do something about it, perhaps by jotting down 2 lines. For instance, I remember when I got married, my mother came to the wedding, and she stayed for about a month, and then when she left, obviously that was my last my mother was going, so obviously it was quite a sad moment for me, and my mother-in-law sent me a little note. Hi Sonia, this is just to tell you that we all love you, and that totally melted me and gave me a lot of strength, and I knew that I was being loved and cared for.
But do you have any recollections from her times about her responses to things that happened in India or politically, which showed her character to you? Bangladesh war, do you recollect anything?
Of course, Bangladesh war was a very exciting moment for all of us, because we lived every moment of that crisis in our family. When Mujibur Rahman came, to Delhi
Right.
from London. You remember there was a big reception
Right.
at the airport, and I made it a point, even though I was going to deliver my other child the next day, I made it a point of being there at the airport. There
I
was
see.
such excitement. Yes, that is, I think, one of the triumphs
But what
of
was
Mrs. Gandhi.
What was the conversation on the dining table like during the days of that war?
Well, mostly we were getting reports of the atrocities of the Pakistani army
Right.
on the people of Bangladesh, on their intellectuals, the cruelties that they were indulging in. But throughout that period, she was very composed and calm.
The other turning point in her political career, the emergency.
Yes.
What side of her did you see then? And how did you and Rajiv respond to the emergency?
Well, my mother-in-law herself, after she lost the election, she did herself say that she had a rethink on that, and the very fact that she declared the election means that she had a rethink on the emergency.
Rethink means, do you think that she really thought that it was a mistake?
I think she did think that it was a mistake. Because don't forget that at least Indira Gandhi I knew was a Democrat
Right.
at heart, to
Right.
the core. And I think circumstances compelled her to take that action, but she was never quite at ease with it. What motivated you to come into politics? You know, after your husband's assassination, you had stayed out for some time. But what is it that forced you or inspired you or motivated you or told you there's no choice? Well, the Congress party was going through some problems, and many of the leaders, my senior colleagues, came and asked me to come and help the Congress, to come and participate
Right.
in Congress activities, because they felt that it would help the party to a certain extent. And I thought hard about it, and there was a conflict within me, because I was not ever keen to join politics. In fact, I didn't even want my husband to join politics.
Right.
Because I had seen my mother-in-law's life struggle,
Right.
being rejected, being, all sorts of calumnies being hurled at her. And she led a life of service and a very difficult life, and then she was killed.